In my opinion, the most important point is to choose the good journal.
So, as much as it pains me, I think that the impact factors of the journals cannot be ignored. Ultimately, your work should be, judged, and not the journal where you publish it in, but that what people look at to have a shortcut to the quality of your work is the impact factor of the journal. So it is unfortunately something you have to take into consideration, and that just means that if you're in an early stage of career, going for a journal which hasn't yet an impact factor is really taking a bet, because you don't know where it's going to end up. You might have, if it's doing well, that is good, but if you want to do an academic career where they will look at this, it's really risky.
And another suggestion is just try to write your paper always thinking to send it to the highest impact journal in your field, the most important journal in your field. It might not go there, it might get rejected by multiple journals as you submit, but always aim for the top one.
And then you have to see people that would be reviewers of your work. Where do they publish, and where the similar articles is, and where are they being published? I think it's the audience will depend on it, and the kind of reviewers that you will get depend a lot on the journal, so you have to be careful about that.
And I think one rule is try to submit even one journal higher than what are your feelings, because it's anyway a kind of lottery system where it will be accepted, and so if it gets reviewed in a good journal, you will get at least good comments how to improve your paper before submitting it to another journal.
Okay.
Try and go down the ladder, submit maybe a little bit higher than what you think is even reasonable, and be prepared for being rejected many times, and just try out many journals until you kind of get lucky. That's a strategy which is particularly okay if you manage to get your work first on the archive, so that you have it stamped that it's out there and you cannot really get scooped on it. And particularly in bioinformatics work, I think that's often very acceptable. And then you have time to go around, even though people that would look at your career track do treat a really published work differently from one in the archive, but it's there and it can be looked at. And then you don't have to freak out how long it will take.
So for this, I'd say the main thing is with the experience, you can see where a paper has the highest chance of being published. It's a bit like when you play cards and you look at odds, right? So are you trying the risky contract, or are you trying the safe one, or are you just passing and whatever? So passing is kind of the +1 PJ path. If your work is correct, and I hope it's correct, otherwise you should be discussing publishing it, then you should get published there. If you think your work is a good fit for, MBE or bioinformatics or whatever is the reference journal in your field, but maybe you want to try a more prestigious journal, but in that case, you have a risk of wasting more time, getting more stress, getting more demands which will be unfeasible. So that's you have to think of a cost benefit. If it gets there, it might be better for your CV and your reputation, but if it doesn't, you will waste time and stress.
Another thing I like to do as well is to actually go towards short formats. Sometimes you're really tempted to go to extended format. I want to publish a complete research article, which requires a lot of work, a huge amount of text to be polished and written. And sometimes to go towards brief communications, it's not a bad idea. I've done that quite a lot, and I got quite successful thanks to this short format. So you end up by writing up 2-3 pages, so that you can spend a lot of time polishing this text, getting a very clear piece of text, and it doesn't change the fact that you can provide as well very extended supplementary material for this paper with all the details.
So as advice to select journals, first I must say I relied quite a bit on the mentors I was working with, because I think it's really hard to know where to aim when you start your career. And then I have the feeling now that when I see results, I have an idea where to submit, and I